a reason why some people find themselves in the city. You will read the book of CANA2. All people who die, who belong to the Lord, will not land in the city, they will land in the paradise. That's the landing ground. That's the port of entry. And you will be amazed that they will schedule your trip in the city. But they will explain to you everything first. Because in paradise are all the people whom you have loved and you have known, and all the people who became believers because of you. They will wait for you in the paradise when you land with the angels of the Lord. And there will be much hugging and kissing and thanking. Thank you that you shared the gospel with me. Thank you, God. That will take place in paradise. In the city, makibot gid kamo what's happening in the city. But the foundations of the city are decorated with every kind of precious stone. There are 12 gates made of 12 pearls, and the street of the city is pure gold, transparent as glass. Okay? So here is an artist's attempt to picture the heavenly city. I don't know if it is accurate, but that's the best that they can attempt. So, I'll give you a little glimpse of CANA2 trip in the city. And you just assess in your spirit what is the witness of your spirit in your heart. In the city of God, there are schools. Because before you are allowed to worship the Lord in His temple, the prophets, the angels, the saints will hold Bible studies with you so that you will understand what is going to happen there. CANA2 saw so many schools, especially those who became believers at the moment of death. Because the Lord has promised, call on the name of the Lord and thou shalt be saved. And in their life on earth, they never attended a Bible study. They have no idea about the 24 elders and the seraphim and the cherubim. The word seraphim is actually serpent. Lucifer was a seraph, a high-ranking angel. And a seraphim is a serpent creature, very powerful, with 6 wings and eyes everywhere. Di kung wala ka na Bible sa diyan, ma-nervyos, ma-siyak ka to. So, lecturean ka, anay. Totoo, pungko, anay, ha? Schedule ta ka, ma-worship ka to, amo ni, ha? Makibot ka na to every time ka. Dasun ba si may makita ka to, angel nga 4 ulo, hindi ka masyak, ha? Ano na siya? Cherubim, balahaw. Oh. So, lecturean ka. So, there are schools in the city of God. Another thing that will shock you, there are nurseries in the city of God because many babies died before they became mature. Do you know that aborted babies are in the nursery of God? They are taken care of by angels until they grow to maturity. Then they will be brought to the city of God to worship the Lord. Because how can a fetus worship the Lord? A fetus has to grow up. And the angels are there to feed them and teach them. Terribly. Ari pagid. This will blow your mind out. Ako, hindi ko katulog sini, check my Bible to see if CANA2 this sight of heaven is biblical. There is a factory, a warehouse in the city of God containing body parts that were designed to replace people with disrupted and deteriorated organs had they only prayed for healing and replacement of their organs. Gin-check ko gina sa Hebraic roots. Siling ko na ano man niya nga tayog naman niya nga istorya. This is the explanation. God created everything in 6 days. And when He created man, He also created the spare parts of men. There is no car manufacturer that will produce a Toyota Vios without spare parts also already produced. That is why, that explains why some people have experienced miraculous transplant. Hindi na niya mo ang kidney ko, siling sang x-ray, wasak na to, ginprayan ko ni Pastor Patrick sa taga-Nihop nga ang nagbago na ng kidney ko. Kaya ginislan gani sang body parts. Amo na to ang city of God. That city is a highly functional city. But in the city also are records. Full of records. Libraries. Histories. And they have a retrieval system that when there is a hearing in the court of heaven, mag-remand ang divine council. Where is the record? That is produced right away because the city is a complex city full of records. In 1994, the Hubble Space Telescope was repaired. And they were testing its lights. And one of the pictures taken, which was recently declassified, tanawan nyo lang, you Google it in the internet, Space Hubble Telescope captures City of God in heaven. So, because there is a debate, kaya ang NASA will not comment on whether this is a fake. They maintain a policy of no comment. No comment. And that the one who revealed this is a former scientist in NASA. Okay, so there is a city. Now, in the city, diri na ta, is the temple and the throne. The temple is not the city. The temple is in the city. And in the temple is the throne room. Isa ko lang ni pag-explain because they are mentioned in the same place in Revelation chapter 7. One of the elders asked me, these in white robes, who are they? Where did they come from? I answered, sir, you know. And he said, these are they who have come out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. They are before the throne of God and serve Him day and night in His temple. And He who sits on the throne will shelter them with His presence. So the throne, the temple, the throne is in the temple of the Lord. Talking of the temple, very interesting. Ining temple has an earthly temple, Revelation chapter 11. In the last days, the earthly temple will be trampled by the Gentile nations for 42 months, 3.5 years, depicting the 7-year tribulation period. I'll not discuss that. I'm just citing this, that there is an earthly temple, but there is a counterpart temple of God in heaven. I am reprogramming our mind. First lesson, remember the first lesson, types and shadows. What the Lord orders here has a counterpart there. When the Lord has a house of prayer here, or a temple here, or a tabernacle here, and the instruction came from Him, it is to practice us here, to operate in the real place there. Remember the first lecture, types and shadows of the good things to come. So while there is a temple on earth, there is the real counterpart temple of God in heaven, where the ark of His covenant appeared in His temple. But you might be confused. In Revelations 21, there is no more temple. Revelations 21. I saw no temple in her, for its temple is Adonai Elohei Shavuot and the Lamb. And the city has no need for the sun or the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God lights it up, and its lamp is the Lamb. So, a day will come when there will be no more temple, but the city will still remain. Why? Because right now, there is still a temple in heaven, because the temple is only an expression of the presence of God. After there is no more, after redemption, there will be no more barrier to the presence of God, because God will now tabernacle with man. So, no more need for the temple in an unredeemed and imperfect world, but the city will still remain. Bow. Now, this is amo gining ginawanda sang iban. Di inang balay ko to sa langit. My Father's house has many rooms or mansions. The word house actually means compound, not one bungalow type of house. His compound has many rooms, mansions, dwelling places. If that were not so, would have I told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? This is a literal place. Question: who will have the privilege of being nearest to the Father in the Father's house? Gusto ko gid nga malapit. Lord, please, butang gid ko lapit. Oh, Lord, ay, gusto ko gid nga kada kapangapi ko, ikaw gid ang makita ko. Hi, Papa God. Okay. The nearest residential subdivision to the throne are for the martyrs, those who have lost their lives for the gospel. So be careful what you are asking for. Now, our lesson here is the court of heaven. Where is the court of heaven? Daniel 7 says there were thrones. The Ancient of Days took his seat, and the court was seated, and the books were opened. The court of heaven, where there are so many books, which will be opened when the court begins its session, is in the city and in the temple. Where is the throne? It is in heaven. Revelations 4, John said, I saw a throne in heaven with someone sitting on it. And there is a rainbow that shone like an emerald that encircles the throne. Maybe next time I'll talk about portals. Surrounding the thrones were 24 other thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. But aside from that, there are the 7 spirits of God. Ang meaning sa word nga throne is a seat, usually a high seat, usually having a footstool, which is an emblem of royal authority. Pero ang Hebrew word is interesting, because the Hebrew word for throne is not the Greek word thronos, which is a seat. The Hebrew word for throne is kese, or from the root word kasa, which means canopy. Ibig sabihin, where there is the glory of God covering a place, that is where His throne is. So, may paradigm shift kita diri. Kay kung Greek nga mind, throne, mangita ka pulungkuan. Hebraic thought that there doesn't have to be a literal seat, where there is the canopy of the presence of the glory of God. That is where His throne is. So when we worship the Lord and we praise Him, and there is the glory of the Lord that we can feel, that is where His throne is. So, hindi ka magsiling, I did not see a throne. He may have a throne, but that's not really important. That the important thing is His presence is in that place. Now, where is the meeting place of the divine council or the court? Diin ni ang site, ang location. Because this may help us in our experience later, because some